Hi, it's Mrs. Miller here with Florida Virtual School, and today we'll be talking about a monopoly. The monopoly is one of four market structures. It is considered imperfect competition because it is not an efficient market structure. We have monopolies because it's natural for only one firm to produce because they can produce at the lowest cost. They produce a unique good with no close substitutes, and the firm and the industry are the same, so they can make their own price. One of the biggest reasons we have monopolies is because there are very high barriers to entry. For example, geography can be a barrier to entry. Location or control of the resources limits competitions and leads to one supplier. Think about a gas station that's out in the middle of nowhere. The government can also be a barrier to entry. The water company, pharmaceutical drugs, the army. The government allows monopolies for public benefits or to stimulate innovation. They issue patents to protect inventors and forbid others from using their invention for at least 20 years. Technology or common use is also a barrier to entry. Patents and widespread availability of certain products lead to only one major firm controlling a market. Think about Microsoft, Intel, Apple, even Band-Aid. Mass production and cost are also barriers to entry. Economies of scale make it impractical to have smaller firms. Think about the electric company. If there were 3 competing electric companies, they would have higher costs. Having only one electric company keeps prices low. Despite having no close competitors, monopolies still advertise their products in an effort to increase demand and make it appear as though they are good for the community. The good news is that there is only one graph because the firm is the industry. The cost curves are the same. Profit maximizing price is still where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, but we drive it up to the demand line. The shutdown rule also still applies. Monopolies and all imperfectly competitive firms have a downsloping demand curve, which means to sell more, a firm must lower its price, which changes the marginal revenue. The marginal revenue does not equal the price. A monopoly will only produce in the elastic range of the demand curve because total revenue falls in the inelastic range. The industry supply line is the marginal cost curve above the marginal revenue curve. Consumer surplus is the difference between the price consumers are willing to pay and the price they actually pay, indicated by CS on this graph. Producer surplus is the difference between the price producers would be willing to charge and the price they actually charge, indicated by PS on this graph. Profit would be the price at which ATC crosses the profit maximizing quantity up to the price actually charged. Deadweight loss is the triangle indicated DWL. It's the area where neither producers or consumers benefit. The socially optimal point is where marginal cost equals demand. This is also where a perfectly competitive firm would operate because demand equals marginal revenue in the perfectly competitive firm. Notice here it's labeled QSO, socially optimal, and PSO. If the government regulates a monopoly, it would do so at the fair return price. This is where the monopoly earns a normal but no economic profit, at the point where average total cost equals demand. Label the fair return price PFR, fair return, and the fair return quantity QFR. If the government regulates a monopoly, it would do so at the fair return price. This is where the monopoly earns a normal but no economic profit. In a natural monopoly like an electric utility, it is better to have only one firm because ATC is falling at the socially optimal quantity. One firm can produce the socially optimal quantity at the lowest cost due to economies of scale. Marginal cost takes on a different shape in a natural monopoly, more like a smile. If average total cost is below marginal cost, then the government would need to subsidize the monopoly or regulate it at a higher price than the socially optimal price, or it will close down. A perfectly price discriminating monopoly is able to charge each consumer of the product exactly what they are willing to pay. As a result, marginal revenue equals demand. Price discrimination results in several prices, more profit, no consumer surplus, and a higher socially optimal quantity. As with a perfect competitor, we can calculate total revenue, total cost, and profit and loss for a monopoly. The formulas are the same. Total revenue equals price times quantity. In this monopoly, the profit maximizing quantity is 8 and the profit maximizing price is 10, so 8 times 10 equals a total revenue of $80. The total cost would be the price times ATC where it crosses the profit maximizing quantity line. In this case, 8 times $7 or $56. Total revenue minus total cost equals profit. So in our case, the profit would be $24 because 80 minus 56 is 24. It's positive, so the firm is making a profit. This should give you a good basis for drawing your graphs and doing any kind of calculations for a monopoly. If you still have any questions, please call your instructor for additional help. Have a great day and thanks for listening.